Wow. Is it cool if we just stare at you for a little bit?
Thanks for having me on. I have a 45-minute speech prepared on the North Korean nuclear buildup that you guys, I know, have been discussing all week. So,
I was going to ask you about
we'll begin with the Yongbyon reactor, okay?
Oh,
man.
The first thing I thought about asking you is, did you watch the finale of American Idol?
I did not. I am one of the few remaining Americans that does not. But, my wife, Cindy, she's totally immersed, as you all are. But I honestly did not, and I apologize for doing so. I got to start watching some of the stuff. Did you watch the last episode of 24?
No.
Yeah,
I get
Did
it
you
on
watch
Apple
the
TV.
last episode of Lost?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Of course.
I've gotten to the point on Lost, honestly, I do not know what century we're in.
Yeah, well,
it's confusing.
Wait, you saw the season
we're back
finale?
30 years before, and here's so-and-so as a kid. Here's Ben as a kid. Let's kill him. You know what?
Yeah.
But I got to say, it's intriguing. I never did figure out the black smoke. Did you?
No.
They haven't told you. There's still one season left. Did you watch the actual season finale of Lost? I mean, what do you think is going on in Lost?
I really don't know, except that obviously Ben remains one of the most evil guys
I know.
ever to exist.
Or is he?
The question is who gets Kate? Who gets
Julia?
who gets Julia? There's a little four-corner going on there.
You're good, Sir McCain, because you come in here and you know that we can't hang on any real topic. You come in here and talk TV with us, and we're good to go.
He's lobbing softballs at us.
On 24, which used to be my absolute favorite, really used to be my absolute favorite. It's obvious that the producers of 24 thought, when they designed this season, that Hillary Clinton was going to be the president of the United States.
So you got a female president.
Yeah, female president.
Daughter gets kidnapped.
A daughter, all of that stuff. By the way, speaking of evil, the president's daughter was about as evil as bad person as you can get.
Yeah, now that
and of course, every president appoints their daughter as the chief of staff.
Yeah, right.
Hey, let me ask you this: Could the producers of 24? Could the producers of 24 just be so advanced in their thinking? Because season 1 was a black president.
Yeah, and he
Maybe
was good.
8 years.
I think that the guy that played President Palmer was really good.
Yeah, I like
he,
that guy.
He was fantastic. Those early couple of years of 24, I think, were as good as anything I've ever seen on television.
The thing about 24 is that Kiefer Sutherland character, Jack Bauer, he's had like 8 really bad days.
I know, and he's dying now, but guess what? I think they will find some experimental treatment for the exposure, and he will live to be with us another season, unless he headbutts somebody else in a bar in New York and is unable to get out of the slammer.
Why don't they just call the show 1 and make it 1 really bad hour, and then it's different every week instead of 24? What's the longest?
The other thing, could I just mention one other thing about where there's all this debate going on all over the country, and with Cheney versus Obama, etc., on torture. It's Jack Bauer makes it so simple.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me where the nuclear weapon is. I won't. Blam.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you where the nuclear weapon is. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
When you think about torture, I saw that. I'm not a strong reader, Senator McCain, but I like watching movies, and I saw that movie On Your Life, which is really cool.
Well, thank you. Thanks very much. We're very proud, and the book continues to do well after a number of years. But when we've had a wonderful life.
When you see how you're like tortured in that movie, I mean, did they ever talk to you about that stuff? With you know it firsthand.
Well, I don't want to get boring, but the reason why I think torture is not good is for 2 reasons. One, it has an effect on those that do the torturing, but the other is that if you inflict enough pain on somebody, they're going to tell you whatever they think you want to hear to get the pain to stop.
You're right.
So sometimes you get information that is bogus as well as information that is good. The Israelis do not torture. Israelis, you can imagine the problems that they have with terrorists, etc. So anyway, by the way, last Friday, I know Cindy was supposed to be on. I apologize. It was Jack's graduation from the Naval Academy. You may have seen the picture.
Yeah, and I was following Megan's Twitters there. It was pretty cool.
And there was a picture in the newspapers of Jack being hugged by President Obama, who spoke at his graduation. So I apologize for that. Cindy got caught up in, obviously, the emotion of the moment. Jack is the fourth generation. Fourth is great-grandfather. Grandfather and I all graduated from the Naval Academy,
Whoa.
and he did too. He's
Very
going to
cool.
pilot training.
Oh, cool.
And I hope that he's a better pilot than I was. I certainly wouldn't want him shot down.
Oh, boy.
Now, when you think about that, do you consider yourself to be, even back in the day, were you a hotshot pilot, a safe pilot? What do you think? What kind of pilot were you?
Very unsafe.
Unsafe.
Very unsafe.
You were like Top Gun, huh? You're like Maverick.
Very unsafe.
I remember in the
I
movie.
crashed several airplanes.
Did you really?
Whoa.
And so now, as
They
you
were a
look
lot
at,
cheaper in those days.
as you look at the latest McCain graduate, what kind of pilot do you think he's going to be?
I think he's a far better and more serious and more mature than I was, to be honest with you. I was rather immature and bought a new Corvette, went to Pensacola, was very interested in the libraries and the other cultural aspects
Yeah.
of
Sure you were.
Right.
Pensacola,
Yeah, 'cause
Florida. Didn't miss a single symphony.
I bet not.
No, Pensacola, Florida is a fun place for young people to be.
Party
The
town?
beaches are wonderful. You know, Destin, that whole North Florida area is Florida coast panhandle is really neat if you ever want to go on a real good vacation. The water's very clear and there's lots of good food.
Do you talk to people? Do people come up to you now, especially around Arizona, and say, "Hey, so this whole house thing, how do I get out of my house thing?" What do you tell them now with the environment the way it is and foreclosures happening everywhere? And
Well, first of all, everybody comes up to me and says, "I voted for you." I should demand a recount. I mean, nobody comes up and says, "I didn't vote for you." Anyway, listen, it's really tough. It's really tough out there now. It's very, very tough. It's tougher than it's ever been in our lifetime. People are not able to stay in their homes. You drive around here and you'll see the closed storefronts from the small business people that haven't been able to make it. And people are angry. I had a town hall meeting in Mesa last night, and they don't get it why we should give General Motors $50 billion. Yeah. And because they're too big to fail, and yet a small business person here is too small to save. They don't get it.
pretty
And I
good
don't
point.
get it either.
I don't know that I do
don't
either.
get it either. I don't get it.
Well, is that
We
from the Bush
continue to-
stuff or is that Obama stuff?
Well, it's Bush stuff to some degree. I can't blame Bush or Obama to a great degree about the financial collapse. I do think that we have spent so many trillions of dollars now that we're laying a debt on younger Americans that they're not going to be able to pay off.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just spend and spend and spend. General Motors is a classic example, and I blame Obama for this. They could have gone into bankruptcy months ago before we pumped $50 billion or more into them. And then they could have come out of it and they could have restructured. Look, lots of people businesses going to bankruptcy and come out of it. Instead, we kept pumping money in, and now what do I tell that small business guy? Hey, I don't care about you. General Motors gets $50 billion and the United Auto Workers own the corporation, but too bad for you. And these are tough times. They're very, very tough times. And the economy's getting better, and I pray that it will continue to get better. But the ripple effect on small business people, who are the ones who provide jobs, is very tough.
what do you worry about the most?
I worry about the future of the economy because we've mortgaged our kids' futures. We are committed generational theft, and I continue to worry about these radical Islamic extremists that in Afghanistan, Iraq, there was some people arrested in New York City, as you might recall, just a few days ago that wanted to commit an act of terror. So I worry about that. But again, I got to say, when I spend time around, and I know you all do, around our military, our Marines, our airmen out at Luke, our Marines down in Yuma, our Guard, our reservists, they're the best I've ever seen. They're the best at that Naval Academy graduation. Those young men and women are fantastic, far superior to my generation. So when you get a little worried, you know that the best military we've ever had, we have today, and the bravest.
Yeah.
What are you the most optimistic about America in the future?
That because we're still a beacon of hope, liberty, freedom, democracy. We still produce the most productive workers, the greatest innovators. Every new technology, iPhone, Whatever
iPhone
it is.
rules,
Yeah.
doesn't
Is that
it?
your
Whatever it is, I'm getting one. Believe me.
You have to.
Yeah, it comes out. There's a new one in 2 weeks.
What do you want now?
I just the standard Mark 1 Mod 0 cell phone. But I'm leaping to the iPhone.
Good for you.
I want to download all that music, among other things.
Yeah, I know. We know you love the ABBA. You've told us that.
Yeah,
How about that?
the
You,
old-fashioned yeah.
you come on our
Dancing
show.
Queen.
I'm
You
a
come on our
Blackberry
show.
guy.
You say you like ABBA, and it's all over the world. Remember that?
Yeah,
Crazy.
Everybody comes out of their closet and says, "I like ABBA too."
I'm going to take a picture of you right now and put it on Twitter. Wow, Senator McCain, our studio.
And by the way, I Twitter. We have 670,000 people now that follow. Wow, it's amazing. We're in the top 10 of all the people at Twitter. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's a phenomena of the last year.
Yeah, I get in
it's
trouble
so
for
cool.
Twittering.
I love it.
Everybody loves it.
Yeah.
140 characters, immediate communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my wife says I Twitter too much.
There's no such thing.
Right. I'm telling hey, man, it's marketing. These are our friends that listen to us and want to know what we're doing.
Listen, the Obama campaign, to their great credit, they used email, text, the internet,
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah.
They used it with incredible skill and talent. I mean, they really took advantage. There would be an Obama rally, and people would leave, and they'd say, "Just give us your email address." And within a couple, 3 days, they'd get an email, say, "Give us 10, 20, $50.
Yeah.
They did a very good job on, and we are catching up, and we got to catch up.
It seems like post-election, you've become sort of a technology, at least more interested in how powerful it can be.
Oh, yeah. If you want to communicate with your audience, people that are listening to us right now, you'd better understand Twitter, email, the internet. You better understand it.
Fax.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
boy.
better. Well, fax is kind of fax. I mean, who
Eight-track.
faxes? Who faxes?
I know, it
anymore?
almost seems
Uh-huh.
older than anything.
Yeah, I was going to say fax is like dinosaur.
Yeah.
Hey,
I have as an American, I have some stupid questions. How long, like, you're a senator?
I have some pretty stupid answers.
Well, I don't know. How long does it work for you being senator? When's that up? And are you doing it
I'm
again?
up in a year from 2010, and I'm running again.
Oh, good for you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then this is really stupid. Because I'm looking at you.
Stop.
Well, like, do you ever, like, you're so clean cut and you always look good when you go out? Like, do you ever, like, not shave and just chill out?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you shaved this morning?
We have a place up north, place on Oak Creek up north near Cornville.
Nice.
And I relax up there more than any place else I've ever been in the world. I love it up there. We truly love it up
Can
there.
you grow a beard?
I did in the Navy one time when I was on a carrier and we were at sea for a long time. We had a beard growing contest. Now I'm afraid I look like Ernest Hemingway.
Like, when you were in Vietnam and you were a prisoner,
Yeah.
did you shave? Like, did they give you stuff to let you shave?
They gave us. It was interesting. They were East German razor blades, and about once a week they would make us shave. They didn't want us with beards.
How come?
They wanted you to be indistinguishable. You know what I mean? So they wanted us clean shaven. It was an interesting experience. The East Germans might have made some good things, but they didn't make good razor blades. And I would be about the 10th guy on one. You know?
So you had to pass it around.
Well, in those days they kept us separate, so you'd have to go to the same place, and the razor would be there. But
You're a
they changed
fascinating
the
man.
razor.
Fascinating.
In the movie about your life, the part where when you were in Vietnam, was all that? I mean, I'm sure was it like 100 times worse than what they showed in the movie?
Oh no, it's been a long time and far away. But look, the people I love most and know best are those that I served with, my dearest and beloved comrades. The business of politics in Washington is very facile and very shallow, and loyalties and things come and go. Harry Truman said, if you want a friend in Washington, go out and buy a dog. And he was right, But those are the guys that I mean, whenever I hear from them, whenever I see them, I watched 1,000 acts of courage and compassion and love. So when I look back on the experience, I look back on the good side and the fun times. And we did have fun times. I was a big movie teller. You like movies?
Yeah.
I told, once we were put into a big room after several years, I told over 100 movies. Some of them I'd never seen.
You just figured out the plot, and you're like, it's going to kill the time.
Yeah.
Any of them musicals? Do you sing?
No. Well, no, but we even put on skits and plays. You get 25 pilots in the same room together, and you get some pretty good innovation. Some of the movies they'd make me tell 2 or 3 times.
I've heard
They
you
didn't have
say
to talk about a captive audience.
Yeah.
I've heard you say that the only people in the world that are funny are the Americans and the Brits, and everybody else has no
No,
sense of
that's
humor.
right. You're exactly right, Rich. That's exactly right. The sense of humor that Americans and British share is a bit unique in the world, and it matters to have a sense of humor in tough times.
Hey, Donnie in Scottsdale, you're on the air with Senator John McCain.
Senator McCain, it's an honor to speak to you. I just wanted to point out that back in 1991, I took a high school trip to Washington, D.C. with a few other classmates. And when Senator McCain found out there were some students from Arizona there, he came out. He spent about half an hour with us. He called a photographer over to take a picture. And I just wanted everyone else to know that this down-to-earth thing it's not an act. This man is just very, very gracious, and I really appreciated that. And that's stuck with me ever since then.
Thank you, Donnie. It's very nice of you to call, and we always like to welcome people when they come to visit their money, and so I think, and it's hard trying to do the Lord's work in the city of Satan. So we're always glad to see our friends from Arizona, and you know what I do? I hope that sometimes when I talk to those young people, that some of them will be motivated to run for public office. We need good people to run. It's a very tough business, whether you're a city councilman, a mayor. I wouldn't like to be a mayor right now.
Yeah.
They have tough jobs. The legislature, tough jobs. In Washington, we print our own money. There's a big difference.
When you're here, I feel like we have the rare privilege of, first of all, it is a great privilege to have you in here, and we feel like we have the wealth of knowledge of the world. I'm wondering if there's, since we're sort of coming up, we've all got really young little kids. What advice would you give us that you give your own kids as you move forward in the world that we're kind of faced with right now? What would you tell us that we can take with us?
One of the things that helped me when I was young, although my dad was gone a lot, is, and particularly with television and iPhones and everything we've got now, try to sit down at the dinner table together, eat a meal together, and talk together with the family. We have a tendency to lose that. Just talk. I still remember some of the best moments is sitting around the table with my family and arguing and talking about things. That I think is really an important part of family life that sometimes is lost because there's so many diversions that we have.
Speaking of, how did you discipline your kids when they misbehave?
I think I was too tough on them. I think the older you get, the more you think maybe you were too tough on your kids.
What'd you do?
No, sometimes verbally, I think I was too tough on them. I'd push them maybe a little too hard, but they've, in spite of my poor parenting, they've turned out rather
you've
well.
great kids.
Like what? Did you do stuff like Great Santini? Like, do you throw the basketball?
Oh
back their head?
No. Because I'm, kind of ambitious. I kind of was ambitious for them, but one thing I didn't do was pressure my son Jack into going to the Naval Academy or my son Jimmy going in the Marines. He's a Lance Corporal in the Marines. I didn't put pressure on them. When I was growing up, enormous pressures for me to go to the Naval Academy.
Oh, wow.
Everybody, they pressured me, and I rebelled against that. So I was not, I didn't, at least I'm proud that I didn't put pressure on them. By the way, our other son Jimmy is in the Marines. He's out at sea right now. He's been in Iraq. He's 21 years old, and I'm very proud of him as well. My daughter Megan, as you know, blogs all the time.
Yeah, she's so cool. She was great on Tyra. Oh, she was great.
She's going to be hosting The View, I'm told, for about a period of time because Elizabeth Hasselbeck is gone, on maternity.
Oh, maternity. That's right.
Wow,
Oh, that's good. That's
man,
perfect. That's
big
perfect for
time.
her.
She has some more, maybe a little more liberal ideas than maybe some of mine. We have spirited conversation, but we need the debate and the discussion in America on a lot of these issues.
Doesn't she have a tattoo?
I'm not sure.
She just totally made him think there. He's like, I've never heard about that.
It wouldn't surprise me. I know my son Jimmy has tattoo. USMC.
Oh, cool.
All the Marines.
Oh, that's cool.
In all your years of being famous and a politician, and every once in a while a video pops up of you being like really pissed off that somebody asked you something. Is there an interview, a question someone's asked you, or a moment that you can remember that just really chapped your hide that they asked you? I hope it wasn't, does your daughter have a tattoo?
I can't remember. I can't remember exactly, but I do remember. I do know sometimes when the attacks get personal. Sometimes people get so angry they attack you personally. But over the years, I have really learned to do not react to these things. Do not react. If you react in anger, then it just feeds the fire.
Yeah, it just goes
Yeah,
crazy.
that's what they
Especially
want.
now with modern technology.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Let it go. Just move on and respect people's views. Respect their views. I think that's the important thing. Don't denigrate them. The level of dialogue, because of cable and a lot of other things, has obviously deteriorated, where people end up all too often questioning someone's character and integrity. We shouldn't be doing that.
What about that with the thing that that I see come up when people protest the president speaking at elections, no matter who's in? When Bush was there too, don't you think there's a respect that comes with that office that
There has to be.
Everybody should say, okay, it's the president. You should want to hear the president speak. They're elected now. Let's get on board.
Yep. And I respect this president. I respect his victory. I respect the way he inspired millions of young Americans and won an electoral victory. That doesn't mean we agree. We strongly disagree on some issues, but on some other issues, we agree.
Yeah.
We agree on Iraq. We agree on Afghanistan. We just passed a law to try to bring the cost of all these airplanes and ships and everything under control, which is out of control. So I want to work with him. But what we really are, what I really am now, is the loyal opposition. I'm loyal to the country and loyal where I can work with the president. And at the same time, where I disagree because we have philosophical and fundamental disagreements, that's why we ran against each other, then try to make my case. And the Republican Party's got a lot of work to do if we're going to get back into a position of influence in America, a big influence.
Lewis in Phoenix, you're on the air with Senator John McCain.
Good morning, Senator. I got a quick question. What are your feelings about Obama and him closing down Guantanamo Bay? And if you're in his shoes, would you do anything different, or would you go ahead and close it down also?
I would close it down, but they made a huge mistake. I would have addressed the whole issue and the policies and the plan rather than just announce it. Now they've got themselves in a terrible bind because they don't know what to do with the people they can't release. They don't know what the trial situation is. We can't. There's some of them that we can't try because we haven't got enough evidence against them, but we don't want to release them. By the way, between 10 and 20% of the people we've already released have gone back to the fight.
Yeah, I just saw that study was released. They've come back. They found DNA and whatnot.
Yeah, one of the senior guys in Afghanistan is a former detainee. One of the senior guys in Pakistan is. So what they did was they announced the closure, but didn't address the underlying issues of how you take care of all these detainees. That's the problem that they had. I would have had an overall policy. And by the way, I don't mean to sound a little small, but I'm for military commissions. We passed military commissions. He voted against it and derided it during the campaign. Guess what we're going to be doing now? Military commissions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait,
But military commission, for the benefit of our listeners, is you don't give them the same rights on a trial that you get, say, as a United States citizen,
Right.
but you do get certain rights to adjudication in a trial. It's just circumscribed to a degree.
Okay.
When they say, I don't understand the Guantanamo Bay deal, because that movie, A Few Good Men, Jack Nicholson was there. That was Guantanamo Bay, right? He was like, you need me on that wall. You want me on that wall. That's like a military base, right? And they're talking about closing down the whole thing, or just the torture part?
Just the prison. And they don't torture anymore. They have not in a number of years. We have not. Question is these things don't lend themselves to short statements. But suppose it's a Jack Bauer situation. There's a bomb about to go off somewhere that's going to kill thousands of people in downtown Phoenix. This guy has the information. Go ahead and do whatever is necessary, but take the responsibility for doing so. Okay? But in all 999 out of 1,000 other cases, you don't have to do that. You don't have to torture people.
What is waterboarding?
And you shouldn't torture people. You put people in inclined backward and you put a rag in their mouth and you pour water into their mouth. It was done in the Spanish Inquisition.
So it's drowning. They feel
for
like they're
hundreds of
drowning.
years.
Yeah.
You have the
Simulation.
sensation of drowning that you really believe that you're dying. It's one of the most horrible things you can do. We shouldn't have tortured people.
Have you been waterboarded?
I've never, but I know enough about it. Very quickly, I was in with Senator Lindsey Graham in a prison in Iraq, the biggest prison. There were 20,000 Iraqis in that prison. The general took Senator Graham and I to a secluded area. Here was a former member of Al Qaeda, high-ranking guy. I mean, one of the toughest guys I've ever seen in my life would come over to our side. I said, how did you succeed? He said two things. One, after the initial victory of the American troops, there was chaos everywhere, murder, robbery, etc. And he said the second thing is, he said, I recruited thousands of young men with the pictures of Abu Ghraib.
Yeah.
So we got to understand that when you torture people, it harms our
generation
image.
after generation.
Yeah, it harms our image. That Al-Qaeda guy used it to recruit people.
Oh,
Summer Tucson, you're on the air with Senator McCain.
Hi, Senator McCain. I just want to start by saying that you are an awesome person, and everything that you've been through is just inspiring to everybody. My daughter and I were in Phoenix this weekend and came across the book that's called My Dad, John McCain.
Megan's book, yeah.
Yeah. Both of my kids just sat there as I read it to them, and they were just amazed by your story and everything that you've been through. And I just want to say that you are a great person.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to have to come here more often, and we've had 2 wonderful callers, and I'm very grateful. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to have served, and it's wonderful to have be back home for the last several months. As you know, I was gone on the campaign trail, and there's nothing like being at home.
Hey, this is kind of weird, but Channel 3 wants to go live with us here in a little bit. You've been on with them quite a bit.
Oh yeah, Channel 2. There's a great channel. Tara is
Scott
and Scott. They're great folks. Their ratings are very good too.
In the meantime, while we wait for them to go live, maybe this is silly. Is there any way you could leave an outgoing message for me to tell my voicemail?
Are you kidding me?
I'd love to do that.
Goodness, are you kidding
We'll
me?
just roll tape
That's
here.
what I'm saying. If I'll say, hey, this is Senator Johnjay's not in right now, something like that.
I've done that for lots of people. I'll be glad to do it. Oh, yeah, it's
Okay, go
fun.
ahead.
Go for it.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Hey, Johnjay's not in. He's probably out drinking somewhere or over at rehab. So leave a message, and he'll be glad to call you back. And be sure to listen to Johnjay, Rich, and Kerry every morning.
Well, you didn't say hi. This is John McCain.
Oh, in case you didn't recognize my voice, this is John McCain.
Perfect. See, I put that on my voicemail.
Perfect. Done.
Awesome.
Forever to be on your answering machine.
Great.
Now you just have to empty your mailbox.
No, I'm in rehab.
I knew that was coming, by the way. I knew it sooner or later.
I've only asked 2 people to do that, you and Clay Aiken.
Oh, he's a...
You're in rare
That's
company,
good company.
Senator.
Yeah, that's right. Rare company.
How many times have you been on Leno?
A lot, and he's a great guy. He is a very nice man. Came from humble beginnings, and I think in Pennsylvania. Really is a wonderful guy. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met in that business. And by the way, Leno has had my daughter on, Megan.
Yeah.
But he also had my mother on, who's 97.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he told me that he's never had 3 generations of the same family.
Yeah, that's cool.
On his show.
Look, we're on live with
there's
3
Channel 3 over there.
Hey, Channel 3. Hey, everybody. How are you?
Hi, Senator. How are you doing this morning?
Fine. Johnjay, Rich, and Kerry are here. We're having fun. They were probably costing the station a lot of money because we haven't done a commercial in a long
Believe
time.
me, I've been getting notes about that.
If we go to commercial, Tara, he'll bolt.
How are you, Terrence? How are you, Tara and Scott?
Do you listen to 104.7?
Yes.
Do you listen to Confession
No,
Wednesday?
I'm too busy watching Channel 3.
Good one. Do you have any confessions, Senator, for Confession Wednesday, even though it's Thursday?
Confession.
It's brutal, these Confession Wednesdays.
Oh, my God. That I guess maybe that I am not as... Well, let me say
How do
that...
you think about it?
Yeah, let me think about it.
Okay.
Will you?
Oh, boy, what if he dropped a bomb like I haven't paid taxes in 40 years?
Oh, boy.
He's like, I never was in the military.
Oh, stop.
I thought you might have got him with something there, T.
I'm just trying to help you guys because you said you had nothing to ask him. You didn't know what you
No,
were
we just
going
felt
to talk about.
stupid.
How's their questions been so
Listen,
far?
Senator McCain's in here, and I hear my dad in my head. My dad's like, people think you're stupid, but as soon as you talk, they know you're stupid. And I can see Senator McCain, so you don't want to ask him anything that's going to let him know how stupid you really are.
Well, he already did my outgoing voicemail.
Oh, he did? Mm-hmm. That was nice.
Yeah, I did mention that Johnjay was reason why he wasn't able to answer the phone. He was either out drinking or in rehab, one of the two.
Wow, that's pretty scary. You know what, though? I think, Rich, going back to your comment, wasn't that Mark Twain who said it's better to appear stupid than to open your mouth and remove all doubt?
Yep. There you go.
And it was Bikram Yoga who said,
Yes, go ahead.
he said, if you want to be good at anything, give it everything.
Oh, my God.
That's good. That's good.
Namaste.
Yeah, I learned that in yoga.
Mark Twain also said I'd only been in Deadwood for a few days before I could see it was no place for a good Methodist. so I didn't remain one long.
You there?
That is good.
And let me quote the great Lady Gaga when she says, "Just dance."
Bye, you guys. Have fun. Senator McCain
Thanks,
on
Tara
radio
Scott.
right now.
We'll be over soon.
Yeah, we hope so. We told those two
Okay,
guys.
Senator, so can we
they're
take
very
a quick
good.
break? They're great.
They're a great team.
But
two
is
of
it
them.
They move
interesting?
fast. It's
Chemistry
nice.
there.
Yeah.
Their news was they broke to us to ask you what we asked you.
Slow news day.
If we break, can you stick around for one more break?
Can we, or do we have to go?
You have to go.
Oh,
I'm
they
sorry,
gotta
we
go.
got to go. Thanks, guys. I'll come back on.
Senator-
And Cindy will
Anytime.
give her a rain check, and we'll come back on. And,
Yeah, remember we
Nice
called
hanging
your
with
house
you.
during the campaign one time and she yelled at us.
oh, great.
Why'd you bring that up?
But it
She was having a good time over there.
No, it was.
You ask about his daughter's tattoo? What are you trying to do to us?
But it was all good fun because
He's gonna have us-
Megan called in right away and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, come on, she's stressed out."
You got to tell Megan we said hi. We
I
love
will.
her.
I can't believe how famous she's become. It's
She's so
ridiculous.
cool.
I will tell her. I'm very proud of her, and I mention quite often. After I lost, I slept like a baby. Sleep 2 hours, wake up and cry. Sleep 2 hours. Thanks, gang.
Senator McCain, thank
Great
you very
to
much.
see you.
You're great.
Johnjay
You too.
and Rich.
Always a pleasure.